Hey there, beer tubers. Welcome back to Maxwell Star's edition of Beer Analysis 101. We've got a panel of great guests, and tonight we're going to take a look at our first holiday beer of the season. Actually, I think last one we technically did a holiday beer, but oh well. This one's a proper Christmas beer, kind of. We're doing Stella Artois, which is named after the Star of Christmas. Anyway, first and foremost, let's take a look at who's on the panel, and I don't recognize the guy in the blue hat. Who are you, and what have you done with Joe?
Yes, hello.
Hey, Joe, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
Doing all right.
You doing all right?
I'm fine. I'm
You having a good
fine.
time?
Why do you always have to sound creepy as soon as I introduce you?
I'm so happy right now.
Yeah. And what happened to your beer?
Well, we're drinking Stella. How can we not be happy?
Moving right along, we got Basement Beer Reviews. Jamie, how you doing tonight? And glad you could join us.
Thank you for having me, Nick. I have a little bit of a cold, so I'll try not to sound too wheezy. But I'm glad to be here to have a wonderful Stella.
Ooh. And moving right along, we've got Greg Bielski, the beer pervert. I don't know. Hey, Greg, how you doing tonight?
Well, thank you, Nick, for that lovely intro. I'm doing great tonight. I was at a Christmas party yesterday where they only served wine. I still drank it, but I wasn't happy about it.
Great.
True story.
Now you got some beer to wash that down.
Full story, bro.
That's right. My palate was cleansed.
Mm-hmm. Next up, we've got... What was it? Yeah, did you cleanse it with pickles? And
believe it or not, no pickles. No pickles. But pizza with a lot of weird toppings on it.
Nice. Next up, we got Craig, Kent Beer Reviews. How are you doing? And thank you for joining us all the way from England.
Cool. Thanks for sharing the link and stuff. But yeah, a beer I could get hold of that you guys were going to do. So like, yeah, why not give it a... I've had Stella for a long time, so yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. Thanks for coming in. I'm not sure if this is the first time I think you were in here for Heineken, weren't you?
I think one other, maybe, I can't remember, but yeah. It's cool.
Yeah. Well, ever since I took it over from Lee, I just wonder if you've been on mine yet. Anyway.
I think once, at least once, yeah.
Yeah. So, speaking of Lee, we've got Lee, Hoogly Beer Reviews, the former Hoogly Beer Reviews anyway. How you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm just peachy. Can't wait to get into this beer. So it's gonna be great.
He's so excited. Why is everybody got to be such a Grinch tonight?
Well, you brought the whole room down when you started out with this creepy chat with Joe. You know, it didn't go anywhere.
The room down. Joe had to shave his beard, and you ruined it for everybody. It's all Joe's fault.
You killed the mood.
Pray for Joe.
I'm saying.
Yeah. Hashtag pray for me, please.
Pray for Joe. Pray for Joe.
Hashtag he manscaped too.
That's more information.
That was way more cutting.
That's too much. All right. And speaking of too much information, hey, Redbeard. We got Redbeard on here tonight, joining us for the first time. I don't know your actual first name, but I'll...
Carrie. My first name is Carrie.
Carrie.
Very, very
cool.
Redbeard it I love it. Is. Welcome.
Redbeard. We'll just keep calling you Redbeard for now. And just carry on.
It works.
I like how you asked the man for his first name, and then you're just going to call him Redbeard.
Yeah, well, we kind of know him already as Redbeard.
Were you hoping for a more exciting first name or something, and now you're just giving up?
I think it's just a case of like your made up name sounds cooler than your real name or something.
You know what? You're not wrong. I'll give you that. Cheers.
Nick starting off the night with a bunch of insults. Fantastic. Here we go.
What else is new?
We got guys called Maxwell Star on here too, and that kind of destroys your entire theory.
That's true.
Shut up. All right, let's get down to the beer history. The Artois Brewery was founded as the Den Hoorn Brewery in Leuven, Belgium in 1366. You'll see that marked on just about every bottle, right above the logo. However, it wasn't always called Stella Artois. In 1708, Sebastien Artois became head brewer and purchased the brewery 9 years later in 1717. So it's been in the Artois family for a very long time. I don't like that very much it is now. And then they renamed it to the it looks like brewers with the Belgians, I think, pronounce that it's brewery or something. Brouwerie Artois. In 1926, the Artois Brewery introduced a special release Pilsner for the Christmas season, naming it Stella after the Christmas star. You can see the star on my bottle here. First sold only as a winter seasonal, it eventually became a year-round release and began to be exported throughout Europe in 1930. Production at the brewery was halted during the German occupation in World War II, but the brewery survived, and by 1960 they were producing 100 million liters of beer, a year of beer of Stella Artois. In 1988, the Artois Brewery became a founding member of the Belgian beer conglomerate Interbrew, which later merged in 2004 with the Brazil-based Ambev, then merged with the Anheuser-Busch in 2008, becoming what we know today as AB InBev. So the first ball that started rolling on the AB InBev empire was Stella Artois. That's kind of interesting to know. And the conglomerate is still headquartered in Stella Artois' hometown of Leuven, Belgium. Stella Artois today is a European-style Pilsner, coming in at 5% ABV and about 20 IBU, similar in style to other Euro lagers like Grolsch, Heineken, and Carlsberg. The label's current design, and I'm going to go pick up this smaller bottle of Stella I have here, which has been cellar-aged. The design dates back to 1988, inspired by their original 1926 bottles. The name Stella Artois is contained within a cartouche, influenced by the style of Belgian architecture in Leuven. And the horn above the logo is a symbol of the original Den Horn Brewery from 1366. They still kind of use the same logo that they've been using for almost, 800 years. 750 years, I think. So, moving right along. Individual histories of the beer, and I imagine some people have several. Who was talking? Sorry.
I said pop that cork.
Ah, yes. Anyway, we'll get into
good luck at the paint.
The beer. Yeah, right. I'll get it. While I'm trying to get this thing out, I'll let Joe give his personal history on the beer.
Yeah, it's okay. No, yeah, I don't really have a personal history of the beer. I've had it a couple times. Every time I've ever had it, price, that was nice. Probably the best thing you've done tonight. The beer itself, though, is
first time I've shot off tonight. Yeah.
As far as like a Euro Pale Lager goes, I don't get, especially in the U.S., why anyone's paying the exorbitant prices you pay for this beer. When you have, I think Heineken's better than this personally. I think there's a lot of better Euro Pale Lagers, or at the very least, it's equal. And the price, nah, brah. But yeah, I've had it a couple times. I'm having it today. I'm super.
When was the first time you had it? When did you say the first time you had it was?
I don't remember. It's one of those beers where I don't even care. It's probably like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago. It's definitely when I first started getting craft beer, but it's a nondescript Euro Pale Lager that isn't terrible, but it's also not worth paying a premium for. Pretty much what I think about it anyway.
Fun. Mm-hmm. All right, moving on along. Jamie, what do you think? What's your personal history with this beer?
This I don't know about everyone else, but I'm in Ontario and this beer's everywhere. You see it at pretty much every bar, and it's been like that since the 90s. Like I can remember back when there was no real, we didn't have the huge selection that we have now, and you'd go to a bar, and Stella was always one of the taps. It probably still is like that, and it's one of those beers that I've had a bunch of times. It's any Christmas party you go to, Stella's there. Any summer barbecue, you pretty much see either Stella or Corona or Heineken. And of those three, I would probably pick Stella. And one other thing about it that the reason I think it sells so well is because of the marketing. It looks like a fancy beer. For someone that doesn't know anything about beer, if they saw a bottle of Stella, it just looks a little nicer. The can is nice. The new can, you can see the shape of the glass, like what Redbeard, and I think you had one as well. Just everything about what they sell, it just looks nice, even though it's not like a gold star product. It's
even the glass.
It certainly looks fancy.
Does look. The glass has a fancy.
Yeah, that glass. I think that glass looks awesome.
Yeah.
So
Again,
it's marketing.
the
They're
bartender who gave it to
very
me.
smart marketing. The label is nice to look at. So I think that's one of the reasons why it's such a mainstay and everywhere. It's just available everywhere. So that's it.
Cool. Greg?
I have much less interesting stuff to say than Jamie just did. So thanks, Jamie, for making me look bad. Personal history, I don't know. I think the first time I ever had this beer was at a wedding. I actually like this beer because sometimes you go to a wedding and you got your Molson Canadians and your Coors Light, and it's like, hey, Stella. I'm happy with that. It's one of those beers that makes me happy when I can get it at a wedding. Otherwise, it's a Euro Lager.
Bit better than your basic lager that you find like at an open bar at a wedding, but not.
You know what? It's better than an American adjunct lager. It's not
true.
bad. It's not offensive. Right now, the one I'm drinking, I only bought the bottle like 45 minutes ago. It's been outside, but it's still not as cold as would be ideal. But it's not offensive warm. It's just not something I'd really want to drink.
Yeah,
That's it. I'm done.
Cool. Greg, what's your personal history with this beer?
Yeah, it goes back quite a long way, probably 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, this is one of the first beers I drank back in the late 90s. Been drinking this beer multiple times. Yeah, kind of got introduced to a few styles of lager back in the 90s and when I was first starting out with just generally drinking, really. This one was a little bit stronger than the rest. On draft, it's very carbonated, etc. And that's probably what got me more than the ABV. Drinking 4 or 5 pints of this, you know you've had a drink. Certainly when you're like 18, it's quite an experience to find out what beer is all about. Really, it's one of them beers. Certainly here in the UK for myself and probably a lot of other people. It's widely available, of course, in pretty much most pubs. On draft everywhere. And that's about it, really.
Pretty ubiquitous there, huh?
Yeah, it's just one of the main beers like Foster's, Carlsberg, and a few others. It's quite a lot. Carling's another one. I mean, there's probably quite a few others, but I don't drink it anymore, so don't look out for it.
For a second there, I thought you were going to be like Joe and say quaffable.
Well, it's average.
It's average. All right. Is it better than the Buffalo Sabres?
Everybody is, except for maybe the Ottawa Senators at this point.
Oh,
They're pretty terrible.
Even the Maple Leafs are doing pretty well.
yeah, I know. It's unusual.
That's weird.
Yeah, can we just move along?
Yeah, let's move along for the hockey talk. Yeah. Speaking of people who don't like hockey talk, hey, Lee, what's your personal history with this beer?
I think probably goes back almost as far as Craig. Back, for me, it was the early 2000s that I think it showed up in the NSLC. This big influx of our big international section was like one shelf with lagers, and that was basically it. You know, big beers of the world kind of idea. It was like, yeah, cheap beers of the world that all come under the AB InBev brand or whatever for the most part, right? Stella Artois, I've never outright hated it. I think my disdain for it comes down to the price point more than anything else. I think it sits firmly in the middle of being way above a lot of your cheap standard macro lagers, while at the same time sort of being in that style, but never quite reaching the levels of like your Pilsner or Kells or something along those lines that have some actual real character to them. Like this is predominantly, it's kind of got like a grassy sweetness. Almost if you drink on it long enough, you might convince yourself, thinking in the back of your brain, it's from Belgium. Belgian yeast there somewhere in the background, but just a hint of that kind of sweetness you can sometimes get from Belgian yeast. But for the most part, it's just grassy sweetness, and then there's this musty, dry undertone of the thing. I've had a lot worse. In fact, if the price point on this was decent, buy all the time just as something to sit back and drink, like a PBR or a Coors Banquet or something like that. Because I kind of actually, again, for the first time in years, I kind of enjoy it a little bit more than those beers, which are usually my go-to macro lagers if I'm going for them. But just to give you an idea of why I don't buy this shit, here's all the formats available to me right now in the NSLC, and here's the prices. So this 473 milliliter can that I bought, one single can is $3.99.
Ooh.
I can buy a 12-pack of 330 milliliter cans or bottles for $29.01. You're really just kind of you're treading the line underneath like the price for like cheap 2.4s. Like you're getting way too high for a fucking 12-pack there. One 750 milliliter bottle, the Christmas special, that's $9.25. I assume that's basically the same price in New Brunswick, Nick.
$9.50 here, but
$9.50.
Yeah.
Okay. And I could also get a 6-pack of 330 milliliter bottles for $16.29. There's no way I'd pay those prices, especially for something in a clear bottle. That's no doubt going to skunk up on me. So that's kind of the thing. It's like you're paying for the brilliance in marketing with this fucking beer. It's like Guinness. It's akin to that in polishing a turd to the utmost degree. Like everything about it says class, but once you actually drink it out of the glass, you're just like, now it's kind of a commoner beer. Really, it's really middle of the road stuff. But you got to give them props for being successful at marketing themselves and whatnot. But yeah, I don't mind it.
Before I move on to Redbeard, I just want to say co-signed. Also, if it's appropriate, hashtag me too. Me too.
You were touched inappropriately by the price of Stella Artois too. Is that what you're saying?
I totally was.
Yeah.
Appropriately molested by the price of Stella Artois. Anyway, moving right along. Redbeard, what's your history on this? Obviously, you've got a history if you got a giant glass like that.
No, again, I didn't have a glass. I thought I would have had a glass because I have so many other random glasses. I didn't have one. I went to a bar here in town, North Bay, and I know the bartender is a friend of mine. I was like, "Can I borrow a glass?" He's like, "Take it, enjoy." I was like, "Sweet." So now I have a glass. But my best friend Marcel, who's been a guest on my channel quite often, this is one of his favorite like mass-produced go-to kind of beers, and I want to say the first time that I tried it kind of from him would have been a while back when I really wasn't a fan of like any beers, way back when, like 19 years old kind of thing. And yeah, I tried it again probably about a year and a half ago maybe, and I was it was a little bit into what I'm doing now, so not quite a year. I could be about a year and a half ago actually, because I'm doing this almost 2 years. Yeah. So, and I'm quite surprised that I actually kind of like it now. It's, for me, like the whole Belgian thing, when I started doing this, I'm not a fan of the Belgian yeast flavor, so that really turned me off initially. But I don't really get the yeasty flavor, and I get kind of a bit of that nice malty kind of flavor, and it's not really offensive in any way. It's just because of what I'm doing now and be on the craft beer kick and stuff and trying to support kind of more local, the big, huge beer conglomerates that are trying to buy all the beer in the world. And I, at all costs kind of thing. So that's the main reason, like having this now, I really don't mind it at all. It's, I could drink a few of these and just, yeah, it's a decent.
You're having yours pretty cold too though, right?
Yes. That's pretty much any beer, unless it's like a really strong stout. I like it to be cold.
Looks like there's ice chunks in it.
Predominantly lagers is probably better to have
that cold, Joe.
Oh, okay, mine does though.
I would argue a beer has to taste good warm, but at the same time, yeah, lager.
Yeah,
should be cold.
You
Best
can throw that
enjoyed
off
cold.
for Euro Pales and adjuncts, or I don't know.
I randomly learned today that Side Launch Brewing at Collingwood, they take a bunch of they take one case, I guess 12 cans or 6 cans or something like that of every batch of beer and put it into a room temperature room and try one can every month or something like that, up to like 6 months or something to test the freshness level. That was pretty cool.
Interesting.
Quality control.
Probably preparing itself for like storage conditions in the LCBO or something.
When Redbeard said side launch, did anyone think that like Radar was just going to randomly join for a second?
Channeling Radar is like, it's the segue. By the way, here's Radar.
It was the bat signal for him, but I guess it didn't work.
Oh yeah,
You just think a bat signal because of Redbeard's shirt.
Maybe.
Venture
Nah,
Brothers
maybe.
right there.
Nah, he was on his way, but he walked into a wall on the way over.
What is your history with the beer and your experience with the beer, Nick?
Well, first, before I forget, I just wanted to say something about, of course, you're probably not going to get too much of a Belgian yeast kind of taste because normally Belgian beers are ales. This is predominantly a lager. So the yeast strain that they would use is completely different. If I want to make Joe go, bleh.
I mean, you're just stating the obvious, but I like it. Good job. Very thorough.
Anyway, my personal history with this beer, I think the first time I ever had this was at a friend's party in 2007. It was right after I came back home from Calgary, and I bought a 6-pack and took it over. I was looking for like something beer related, but a bit different than I'd ever had, and this kind of looked like, oh, this looks like a premium beer. So I bought a 6-pack of it, took it over. First, I liked it, and I think by the end of the 6-pack, I was giving the bottles away. So, and it's mainly because, like, back in the early days, like when every beer that I'd had up to that point usually tasted, this tastes like a lager, this tastes like a lager. I wasn't a big fan of lagers until I started finding more flavorful beers, and that introduced me into trying different craft beers. But this is one of the ones that I had tried back when I was still, testing the waters with lagers and not enjoying it too much. Today, over the years, I've had moments where I bought a bottle of Stella Artois and really quite enjoyed it. It's actually quite decent cold. But it does have that green bottle. It's prone to getting a little skunky and having that horrible smell when you first open it. Sometimes you're lucky and that fades away, or if it's been on the shelf a while, then shit luck. But overall, I love Stella's attention to detail in the marketing sense, I guess, because Belgians generally take their beers pretty seriously. You always got the proper glassware, the special chalice that they make for Stella Artois. They've got a typical serving method when they pour it on tap. I don't normally see this over here, but in Belgium at least, they'll pour it out of the tap, and they'll actually have somebody with a knife that scoops off the head, just like you do with like a quality Belgian ale. And it's kind of tacky, to be honest, when it comes to a beer like this, because you're paying premium prices, as Lee mentioned, for a beer that it really isn't worth the premium. Because I mean, just like what Lee was talking about, a 12-pack of this beer costs $28.70 here, and I'm thinking I could get a Unibrew Tasters pack for like 27 something. This is more expensive than Unibrew.
The 6-pack variety pack of Unibrew, I believe in the NSLC, is cheaper than the 6-pack of fucking Stella Artois bottles. And then you're saying you're getting 341 milliliter bottles in the Unibrew pack. At least I think 4 beers that are strong in alcohol,
330 milliliter bottles.
Yeah. And
variety as well. Like, you're not just getting the same beer 6 times. With Unibrew, there might be one you don't like, but there might be 5 you really do. Like, it's
that, and you get to try usually 6 different beers when you buy one of those. But exactly, the main point was to draw a comparison between buying what is generally a quality beer versus this. You're paying more for this shit than you are for a quality beer, and that's even going on a limb and calling Unibrew quality. To some people, it's like, oh, it's not craft, it's made by Sleeman. Like, one, I think Unibrew's actually pretty good, but 2,
I didn't know they were made by Sleeman.
Yeah, we're gonna need you to sell that, Nick. Need you to sell down.
Sleeman bought. Well, it's still made by Unibrew, but they're owned by Sleeman, and Sleeman's owned by Sapporo. So it's technically crafty, even though some people maybe who forget who it was, but I know they're probably watching in the chat or talking about how you can taste the macro if you let Unibrew warm up. No, but anyway,
raining on everyone's parade, I believe it was. Also, we should go to comments before we go to the last parts. Otherwise,
we didn't give it our.
I haven't finished my. Yeah, we haven't done our ratings yet. Besides, I haven't fucking finished talking.
You're done. There's a lot of people in the comments. Nick.
Lay down the law, Nick.
I just want to finish with one statement before I.
Yeah, no, you can do it.
I just want to finish one statement before I move on. Mm-hmm. When it comes to presentation, I mean the marketing presentation. I appreciate it when I see them doing something special to have the presentation in the beer count, because it does enhance the flavor to have that kind of impression, first of all, when you do drink the beer. But when you're comparing, like Lee compared it to Guinness, at least Guinness brings a better beer to the table.
I still have not come around to Guinness myself. The nitro beers in general, the flatness of them doesn't really work for me. Weird.
Chris would be ragging you out if you were here.
Well, Chris has a baby pal, so it doesn't matter.
Anyway, if you want to move the comments, go ahead.
No, it's your show. There's a lot of quite a few comments, and I just waiting half an hour to read them.
We didn't give ratings to style and all that shit.
Yeah, we haven't done ratings.
We can do that.
We do things in order here.
Yeah, everybody in the comments, I'm sorry. Nick's opinion's worth way more than yours, so sorry about that.
It's true. We're gonna get to the comments. Just settle down, Joe.
Jace is out there. He's our one true viewer, and you're just telling him F off. It's not cool.
I'm not telling Jace, though. We like Jace, even though his avatar kind of sucks.
Oh, that's harsh.
Whoa.
I suppose it's better than Sabres. Okay, so moving around. Speaking of Sabres, Joe, what is your rating on this beer?
You got that? No. For a Euro Lager, I mean, it's good. It's a good Euro Lager. It's from what I've had, it's within the style. It's probably one of the better ones. I'd give it like 8.5, 9 out of 10. It's a good Euro Lager. As far as personal preference, we had Heineken a month ago or so on the show, and in the same style. And I think Heineken is very similar to this. Maybe this one's slightly better for me, but it's also a huge ripoff in comparison. I don't usually bring actual costs into my ratings, so I'm going to be very hypocritical in this situation. I'm going to this time because fuck you, Stella. Give it like a 5.5 out of 10. I mean, I'll drink it. I have no issues with it. It's inoffensive. It's an okay Euro Lager. It's a great Euro Lager, but it's an okay beer for me. Like you guys said about the marketing, like Leith hit the nail on the head, shining up a turd. I mean, I give them credit for going to extra lengths to make it very, I don't know, making the presentation awesome, but at the same time, what's in the bottle matters, and what's in the bottle is not much better than, most beers out there you can get cheap. And the price point I didn't mention for the States, I mean, we get stuff a lot cheaper, especially when it comes to macro-ish stuff. This is $9 a 6-pack, and you can get a lot of great craft beer for $9 a 6-pack here. So people buying this obviously really like this beer. Otherwise, I don't know why I'd be buying this. So, yeah, that's all I got.
Right on. I hope you're writing this down, Jamie. That's why we have you here. Actually, no, it's not. We have you here. Jamie, what's your rating on this beer?
I think I'm just going to give it 7s all around. It's just it's one of those beers that I like it. I don't want to buy it, but I'll happily drink it. If I'm at a Christmas party and there's a bottle of this, I'll have it. So just gonna give it 7s.
Cool.
Straight up.
Greg, how you finding the cork bottle, Greg?
That was a pain in the ass to open, I'll tell you that much. I don't know. It's a nice bottle. I don't like that I paid like $7.50 for it, but it's fine for what it is. I mean, the Euro, let's do the style 8. It's a pretty good Euro Lager. It's probably right up there. By the way, I basically feel the same way about it I do Heineken's. I don't remember what I rated Heineken's, so basically I want to rate it the exact same. So go back to the Heineken review, find out what I rated it, and then disregard the numbers I'm about to tell you. But right now I'd tell you I think it's about an 8 for style, and honestly, I'd give it a 7 for just kind of enjoying it because for what it is, it is. But I'm going to give it a 6 because I'm going to take price into account, and it is rather expensive. And I don't think it's really any better or worse than a Heineken, but I believe a Heineken's a lot cheaper than this is. So,
Greg, you rated on tap a 2.75 out of 5, which would mean it's a 5.5 out of 10. I feel like that's where you went with it.
I gave it 5.5 to the Heineken.
Yeah, based on your untapped, yes. You gave it a 2.75 out of 5.
Joe stalking everybody from tap.
So I'm gonna give this a 6. I'm gonna give this a 6 then because I feel it's worth a little higher than that. So I'm gonna give it a 6.
Just trying to bring facts here. No big deal.
No, that was awesome. That was impressive fact checking, man. That was good stuff.
I tried.
I can't get any shit by Joe. I can't.
I can't be.
I tried to sneak that one in there.
I was gonna go watch the entire Beer 101, but then I realized I'd have to watch it, and I didn't want to.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's terrible.
not a great idea.
Nice.
You could just fast forward to the Greg parts.
Yeah.
That might be even worse.
Yeah, it's harder unless there's timestamps that Nick puts in there. I have no idea.
No, I don't put any timestamps.
Nick, get on that.
Yeah, right. Anyway, moving along.
No one wants to see any Greg parts.
We wanted we one part so we do want to hear about is
Greg parts.
Craig parts. What's your rating, Craig?
I'll give it in the style 7 and a 5 overall. That's where I'm kind of with this beer. Incidentally, this is a 568 milliliter can, so that's like what, 20 fluid ounces ish, or just under. £1.20 for this.
Oh, wow. That sounds cheap.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
It's, I mean, £5 for 4 of these cans. The shop about 20 yards away.
I think it's like $7 or $8 here for 4. That's not bad.
Yeah, but you could probably get it cheaper in a supermarket for a case of like
Because
10
you
or
can buy
whatever,
your
but
beer in the supermarket.
they're just generally cheaper. They just buy it in bulk and like Walmart, I guess, and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, it's readily available. It's quite expensive in a pub over here. It's about £4.50 to £5 a pint. So, it ain't worth that.
Also, Craig, I am stalking your Untapped, and you gave Heineken a 5 out of 10 as well.
Oh, there you go. Right.
Jesus, Joe.
I'm on board here, boys.
Damn it, Joe.
Just trying to bring
All right.
That is creepy.
No, it is.
It is kind of creepy. He's the violator of YouTube. BeerTube.
Pretty sure I correct people more than I violate on them. But either way,
Yeah. Well, it's a little both.
a little bit of
Anyway,
comment,
speaking of violations, hey Lee, what's your rating on this this beer?
I just want to say, friends don't let friends use Untapped.
oh boy,
I'm
I'm just
going
stalking
to
and not using it.
The hate.
as far as style goes. I probably sit this at an 8. I mean, it's pretty goddamn close to the top stuff. It's not Pilsner Urquell, and it is definitely not any of those little obscure little lagers you find in Germany that no one except for like the 300 people live in that dirt hole town that the breweries around actually has ever drank. But amazing ones there that just blow the shit away and everything else we've ever tasted away. Germans will tell you that, of course. And they also lost 2 world wars. Just saying. But as far as just it being a beer,
they beat the Belgians both times.
You know, it's not like the Belgians gave a fuck. they were content getting drunk.
Oh God.
I mean, the Germans were going to get them just as drunk as the French. Let's put it that way. So anyway, so for style 8, as just a beer, I'm gonna have to sit with Joe on this one. 5.5.
Someone agreed with
Price
me.
point knocks
The
it down.
apocalypse.
Somebody agreed with Joe. That's that impossible.
Hashtag that's on you.
Yep.
I find it more agreeable with like the facial hair. It's less intimidating.
Yeah, I lost all my personality, but I'm a little bit smarter. Let's see how that goes.
You definitely look a little bit more intelligent.
Agreed.
Speaking of
I said a
beers,
little bit smarter. I'm saying a smidge, not saying anything crazy. Just a smidge.
Speaking of intelligent-looking people with beards, hey Redbeard,
Hey.
what's your rating on this beer out of 10 for style and for overall?
I usually don't do any kind of style thing, but I'd say this particular one, I don't really know a lot of Euro Lager type beers, so I can't really do a. I'm incredibly uneducated in the subject. I'd give this probably though at least a 7 for the style, just because it seems to be along the lines of other thing like the Heineken you were saying and stuff like that I've had.
Carlsberg. If you've had Carlsberg.
Yeah, actually, I've had Carlsberg, so again, I'd say it's comparable. And overall, probably like a 6.5 or something like that, just because, again, the whole big brewery thing, I'm just not a fan generally. And my own personal thing, if anyone here's watched my videos, if there's no ingredients and no brewed on date, that's an automatic half point off for both of those things. So
that'll downgrade
been
your
like
reviews.
a 7 maybe or something. But yeah, it's like 6.5. I don't know. It's okay.
Maybe it's a little better than okay.
Well, it sounds like I like it.
I didn't hate it.
What was the highest? Okay, we're actually you still got you're next, and then we get.
It's like I'm not even here on my own channel.
No, I just forgot. I'm sorry.
Sure. You don't really care.
Oh, I do. I
Anyway.
really want to hear what you think about it.
Sure. My thoughts on it. I did write some tasting notes here. The first things I noticed
about
were
that.
stinky skunk, and if it's out of a fresh bottle, there's a little herbal on the top, boiled veggies and corn, taste of cardboard and corn, mildly sweet, hints of black pepper, and molasses cookie and toffee. Overall, I don't find it's a flavor combination. It's really truly sitting well. And when it comes to Euro lagers like this, I tend to prefer. I think I even like the Heineken better than this, and I definitely like Grolsch better. Doesn't hold a candle to Pilsner or Kel. For the style, I'm going to give it a 7. Because I think there's things that are better than this in the same category. Overall, it's middle of the road, average 5. Give it a 5 out of 10. Just because it's barely passable, but not my preferred choice.
When you're reading those tasting notes, was that like your beer advocate review or something?
No, it's just shit that I wrote down while you were talking.
Oh, well, you had a lot of time then.
Wow.
Yeah.
Also, you guys keep on talking about Pilsner or Kel. Isn't that more like a Czech style Pilsner as opposed to your lager? Or like they kind of get crossed over?
I just threw it in because it was somebody was already talking about it, but it's not. I mean,
But they all fall under the umbrella of
bit
Euro
different.
Lager, quote unquote. So
yeah, but Euro Lager is kind of like a different category than Czech Pilsner. Like there's Czech Pilsner, European Pilsner.
Czech Pilsners, and I wasn't as big a fan of them overall as this
to
particular.
be fair, I did provide a gradient here. I was saying this was above the North American macro swill, and it was under stuff like the high quality.
For sure, this
stuff
is
like Pilsner
way,
Kel.
way beyond what
My
Budweiser
fucking
is.
ass, Nick.
Yeah, Nick.
Let's get off Lee's ass. And Joe, you want to check the comments? Or are you going to avoid checking the comments?
I'll just interject with the overall style 7.5, personal 5.8.
There you go.
That's what I wanted. That's fantastic. Yeah, that's about. I don't know what Heineken was, but I'd probably say it was probably in the same realm. Probably around 6-ish for personal, 7.5, 8 for style. All right, so I guess comments. We have a lot from individuals that are. Paul's here, so everything's gonna go downhill real quick. Jace Westcott says hashtag pray for Joe and his Sabres. No one wants to do that. He continues with Lesser Greg, and I'm not going to name what he calls you. He's not going to say what he called you, Nick. He just called you something, Nick. And he says is drinking a corked bomber. Drinking a corked bomber of Stella. Mm-hmm. He says the best before date on his can says 8/2008. So super fresh. He also says featuring Greg when we were doing the intros. Mr. Angus Wangus says water beer. Jace continues with $3 for a 500 milliliter can in Ontario. I don't know if neither of you guys did. Wait, Jamie got a can, right? Is that what he said he paid for it?
I got one. I'm pretty sure it was like I said it was around that price point, so it's probably right. Again, that's compared to Carlsberg, Bud, Coors, anything Canadian, Blue. This is pricey for what it is.
Gotcha.
No, you're right.
Yeah, no, for sure. Mr. Angus Wangus says, but they have good commercials, LOL. Again, marketing, right? How they market themselves is a big.
Bud has good commercials as well sometimes.
Yeah, dilly. He also says $7.50 for a 750 milliliter bomber in Ontario.
That's more agreeable.
It's like marketing is important when you're barely different than your competition. That's
you have to get a leg up on the competition somehow, right?
Exactly.
Jace Westcott says, I'm trying to summon Radar with my mind, but it's not working. When it comes to Facebook, neither does
Don't
Radar's.
do it.
He also says, any ideas on what next week's beer will be, Nick? Do we have any?
Well, we might as well do the segue into what next week beer is, because I'm pretty sure this is what we decided on. Gonna do Nice Schoof.
I have a bottle of that in my fridge. That's fantastic.
Right.
Can we get that in Ontario? I haven't checked.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
pretty
in,
sure.
LCBOs. I've seen it in at least 3 of them.
Okay, good. We're good to go then.
Yeah, Chris Lysak on the 10th, he was saying he has a bottle of this in his fridge too. He actually
Chris Lysak says a lot of things. He lies.
I know he does, but it's
He's
just
probably going to
he's
hate the
not
beer
here.
because it's over 3% alcohol.
Price point on that. I was
10%,
impressed with.
10% ABV, right?
Yeah.
He's going to. We might witness our first death here. Battle. Jace also says,
got a 3-year-old aged bottle in these Schoof too.
Really? Look at you go.
Yeah, we need you to stop showing off real quick. And we're also, while you're at it, going to need you to pound out that 2.5-year-old Stella that you have, that you've cellar aged for.
Oh, this piece of shit?
Yeah, like right now. Crack it open right now. I read the comments. See if you
Sure.
survive it. I'm sure you would. Jace Westcott also says Heineken and Stella Artois are both $3 for 500 milliliter cans in the same price range. He also says, does anybody here actually like Stella more than Heineken?
I do.
I'd say probably the same.
Yeah, they're probably,
Well, it's just
Based on the
slightly.
rating Joe
I
showed
would
me,
say
that
I
I
do.
probably, yeah.
But I'd still probably end up rating Heineken a bit higher if I think about it, just because of the price point again.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel most of us probably would do it because of the price. They're very similar beers, but Stella's a bit pricier. But according to Jason, Ontario, the 500 milliliter cans are $3 both. So
apparently we're getting a little bit more ripped off for our Heineken, apparently, or something.
Or you're getting a better deal on Stella.
On the Stella, yes.
The way you look at it.
I don't like the aftertaste of Stella. There's something about it.
Craig's pissed. He's probably drank the most out of this out of anybody too.
Oh.
Not anymore.
You feel like he said not anymore.
To be fair, he was probably already pretty surly because he had to fucking come into a hangout with a bunch of fucking colonials and listen to them blather on.
That's true.
Hey,
That's
we
usually
stayed
what he
loyal-
does, though.
We stayed loyal to British Crown a lot longer than Joe did.
British clown.
Oh my lord.
The British, you said it
British
right the
clown.
first time, yeah.
We're still remarkably loyal in the way that we do some of our shit up here. So,
Hey,
That's on you.
Killed the queen.
hey, my ancestors were loyalists, so
Mr. Angus Wanga says, I like it, Joe. Science and truth is hated by most, though. Believe that was when I was creeping on the Untapped and bringing in actual facts of ratings and whatnot. Jace Westcott said, I lost my beard against Ethan Fladaddy in a Territories beard off match. Here's the thing. I would never lose to Ethan in anything. All right, we're good.
That's not something I'd admit to, really.
No, but I'm saying he's not. Come on.
What about a sex competition?
It's Ethan. Depends. I don't know. Ethan has some sexy hair. And then Paul finishes with 3 comments because Paul
good.
Always finishes.
it's always great when Paul finishes.
He says, I will give it a funeral and a drain. Yeah, he's not a fan.
That's nice.
Pretty
That's
much,
nice.
yeah.
He says, who is this beardless piece of crap that sounds like Dusty Rhodes?
He didn't say crap.
No, I'm trying to keep this PG. He said, East Coast Dan is hating on Stella. I approve. And he goes, and he finishes with, I hope you still corrupt without your beard. Many days.
Oh, he does. He does.
Oh, definitely. He's even more corrupt because it's more concentrated.
Yeah. The
Smaller beard means it's more
The
concentrated.
beard used to protect other people from my corruption just a bit. Now there's no filter. And that's all we have for comments.
It's spreading.
That beard, the beard kind of isolated you from people taking you seriously because you kind of like, oh, this crazy old
Nobody
man.
takes me seriously at any point. Come on, Wes. Come on.
Taking things seriously. The
That's
2-year-old
fair
bottle
enough.
of Stella
Yeah.
tastes like nothing.
It's
like
Get
maybe
out of
some
your fantasy world.
ready seltzer water. That is
so it
fucking
tastes
weird.
like
The
Stella.
hops are gone.
It's
No,
crystal purple. Pristine
There's
condition.
there's no hops in it. There's no sugar. It's all mellowed out, and it's basically nothing now. It's
Hashtag
weird.
smooth.
Maybe with a hint of sourdough because it's really not that fresh anymore.
No more molasses cookies.
No pepper.
All right. Well, thanks
All right.
thanks to Jace, Mr. Angus Wangus, and I guess Paul. I guess we'll thank him. I don't know why, but we will.
Alrighty. So I guess that just about wraps it up. We got any more comments? Nope. Nothing from Paul yet.
No. And even if he does, I'm not reading
more. Yeah. So any final thoughts from anybody on the panel about Stella?
Pretty sure if you put together like a 35-minute show, I think you've run out of things to talk about Stella. So it's done.
Yeah. I think we've talked longer than that, actually.
Like 40-some minutes.
I think James Bond needs to start drinking this now instead of Beck's. And
that's what we have to name one beer that's actually not as that Stella is better than is Beck's, but I'd rather have like a Grolsch or something.
Grolsch. Get James Bond with a big bottle of Grolsch with the swing top.
With the swing top.
The big bottle that they have.
Yes, the big swing top bottle. Pop.
I think our ratings pretty much said it was a very good Euro style lager, but they're just as good out there for cheaper price. So
boring. I mean, the biggest thing is it's so fucking expensive over here in Canada. It's not
in the
worth
States. It is too, and we get we usually get really good deals on so-called macro beers that are even imported beers are pretty decently priced. So yeah,
basically what you can take from this is if you want a Euro lager, buy the cheapest one you can get.
Ooh, fly to the UK and hit up Craig.
Jace Westcott just said my beer store in Ontario just stocked Grolsch Radler 0.7.
Oh boy!
Oh, really? Okay, yeah, we've got that here. I've had that. That's actually really good for non-alcoholic beer.
Jace, if you want to send that out in a beer mail to all of us, we'll totally do it. And Edelweiss Society.
You can buy it here in Superstore.
So is it 0.07 or 0.7?
It's 0.7.
I'm guessing it's the 0. So I thought it was
okay. So that's stronger than the non-alcoholic stuff.
I might be curious to try
by
it.
0.2.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, we could do an analysis at some point.
No, not really.
But not next week. Anyway, I think we're about ready to wrap up our analysis tonight. Long-winded analysis of Stella Artois. It's okay. It's a classic, I guess, but it's not worth the premium. That's the overall rating.
It's a classic, I guess.
Yes, that is it. Hashtag it's a classic. And there has to be like a pause or ... in the hashtag, I guess.
It's better. Okay. It's better than Molson Canadian at a wedding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. This is true. It's not as good as
Peter Chris killed those women.
Chris Peters, pickle beer.
Oh, the pickle.
You know what? I am getting kind of an aftertaste of pickle on this.